So there are now just 3 weeks remaining until this new championship season gets underway, and in today's video we're going to be having a look at the bookies' latest odds for how they think the league table will be shaping up in this upcoming season. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this in the comments down below as well. Who are your current picks for the bottom 3 and top 6? If you've not seen one of these videos before, the way we calculate this table is we work out the bottom portion of the table based on relegation odds and the top half of the table based on promotion odds. All will make sense as the video goes along. Drop a like if you're going to enjoy. Without any further ado, let's jump in. So unsurprisingly, it is Sheffield Wednesday with the shortest relegation odds, currently 8 to 11 to be relegated. They've got promotion odds of 40 to 1, and off the field issues have run rampant at Hillsborough during this summer so far. We've already seen sales of Gassama, Musaba, we've seen Windass leaving, Smith leaving, Bannon's technically no longer a Wednesday player either, despite still training with the club. He's no longer got a contract there. We've had several U-turns on the Danny Roll situation, but seems inevitable that he'll be leaving the club as well. Unless a takeover can go through in decent time, it seems nailed on that Wednesday are going to be in the bottom 3. No surprise the bookies have got them with the shortest relegation odds right now. Predicted to finish in 23rd by the bookmakers, it's Oxford United, currently with relegation odds of 5 to 2, and like Sheffield Wednesday, they've also got promotion odds of 40 to 1. Now, Oxford fans will probably enjoy being the underdog once again this season. If you remember back to last summer, they were the most tipped side to be relegated and ultimately ended up finishing 17th. I still think that side is short of a few goals, and unless they address some of those issues in the final third, they could very well be in a bit of a relegation scrap again. But the transfer business so far this summer has been slow and steady. 2 pickups so far, 2 signings that I quite like the look of. Maker's coming in as a holding midfielder, and Brody Spencer as well, another option at the back. Oxford were a bit of a streaky side last season, weren't they? They went through a couple of periods where they went on brilliant runs of form, but then equally had a couple spells of the season under both Des Buckingham and Gary Rowett where nothing was just clicking for them, was it? The bottom of the championship this season, I think, is looking really competitive, and nailing down 3 sides who are going to go down right now, I think is a really tough one to do. But going off the bookies odds right now, they think Oxford could be one of those sides taking up a relegation spot. Then, as the last side to be relegated according to the bookies, it will be Charlton Athletic with relegation odds of 11 to 4 and promotion odds of 25 to 1. Now, Charlton have been one of the most proactive championship clubs in the market up until this point. As of recording, they've signed 7 players. 5 of those signings, by the way, they've paid a fee for. They've seriously been splashing a bit of cash recently, Charlton. You'd fancy Nathan Jones to have them as quite a competitive outfit next season as well, wouldn't you? Listen, I think every Charlton fan accepted that upon getting promotion to the championship last season when they won that playoff final, every Charlton fan, wasn't under any illusions that a lot would need to be done this summer to get that squad up to championship standards. But with the amount of time we've still got to run in this window and the deals that Charlton have already got over the line, I think they're giving themselves a very good platform to build upon. I particularly like that recent pickup of Rob Apter from Blackpool. They've paid around $2 million for him. I think he's quite an exciting addition to that side. Where he'll fit in though under Nathan Jones and that system that they predominantly played last season in League One, I'm not too sure. But they have made quite a few eye-catching signings up until this point, but despite that, the bookies still have them as one of their 3 to be relegated. Perhaps surprising to some, the bookies then have QPR to finish in 21st place and just outside of the relegation zone. Now, interestingly, QPR actually have the exact same relegation odds of Charlton right now, both 11 to 4 to be relegated. The only reason QPR are higher in this table is because of their promotion odds. They're at 20 to 1 compared to Charlton's, who's at 25 to 1. Now, quite a bit of change at QPR this summer, obviously, with Marty Cifuentes going out. Last season under Cifuentes, it was quite a slow start to the campaign, but they grew into it as it went along, and in the end, they were pretty comfortable. They finished 7 points above the relegation zone, 15th at the end of the campaign. And despite a couple of eye-catching pickups from QPR during this summer transfer window so far, the bookies aren't too positive about their chances, it would seem. Obviously, a new manager coming into the league in Julian Stefan. Squad depth in a few positions may be a bit of an issue that the bookies are picking up on right now. But I'd be interested to know from some of you QPR fans in the comments down below, do you think that's quite harsh for where you're at this point in time? Where do you realistically see yourselves finishing next season, or does a lot of it depend on what Julian Stefan's like as a manager and how he can hit the ground running next season? Predicted to finish in 20th by the bookies, it's currently Portsmouth. Now, Pompey ended last season in really good form. From January onwards, Portsmouth were picking up points like a top half side. They were a really tough nut to crack, especially at Fratton Park last season, but have been fairly slow in getting some deals over the line so far. Only 2 signings as of recording, and in a league like the Championship, if you do stand still, other teams will pass you by. Don't get me wrong, I still expect Portsmouth to do more business between now and the end of the window. There's still a long way to go in that regard, but judging teams by their current strength, the bookies seems to think that a couple of Championship clubs may have surpassed them recently. They got promotion odds of 25 to 1 and relegation odds of 7 to 2. John Swift being their marquee signing so far, picking him up on a free transfer from West Brom. But the rumour mill has started to pick up with Pompey in recent days, and you'd expect a few more deals to get over the line soon, or at least you'd hope from a Portsmouth perspective. Predicted to finish in 19th place by the bookies, it's Hull City, also with relegation odds of 7 to 2, but they've got shorter promotion odds than Portsmouth, promotion odds of 14 to 1. Now, Hull's off-the-field issues have been well documented during this summer so far, currently working under a transfer embargo where they're not allowed to pay any transfer fees for any players they sign. They've also had quite a few names that have been linked with a move away from the club recently as well. Sergei Yakirovich, the new boss coming in, is a total unknown for the Championship, but despite that, the bookies actually thinks that they'll improve on last season's finish. They've got them down for a 19th placed finish at the moment based on these relegation odds. Now, Hull just about avoided the drop on the last day of last season, picking up that point away at Portsmouth. I do think that in terms of squad quality, last season was a bit of a false position for Hull. They were ravaged by injuries. They obviously made the wrong managerial appointment at the start of last season as well, which also hampered them. This upcoming season is just a question of whether those financial issues off the pitch and the EFL embargo will have such a profound effect on Hull that it does see them dropping into the bottom 3, but based on the bookies odds right now, they don't think that'll happen. Predicted to finish in 18th place, it's my club Preston North End. We've actually got higher promotion odds than Hull, 25 to 1, but we're less likely to be relegated based on these numbers, 9 to 2 to be relegated according to the bookies. I do think that Preston have done a lot of work this summer, predominantly on upgrading our back line, which has been badly needed for quite a few seasons now, so it's quite good that we've been quite proactive in getting a lot of those deals over the line. I think we'll be much more defensively resolute next season. The areas where I'm still concerned about North End though, and that still make me think that we could be dragged into another relegation scrap, is I do think we are crying out for more creativity and more goals in that side. We're still going to be addressing that between now and the end of the window. Hopefully we can still get some of our top targets over the line, but if not, that's the real issue that I have with Preston at the moment, just a lack of goals in the final third, especially if Osmajic doesn't have his head screwed on or someone like a Dan Jebison, hits the ground running. So for North End at the moment, I think around 18th is a quite fair position for us. Predicted to finish in 17th place by the bookies. They've then got Blackburn Rovers, relegation odds of 5 to 1, promotion odds of 14 to 1. So the relegation odds do take a bit of a jump from this point onwards. Blackburn just missed out on the top 6 last season, but the bookies are predicting quite a sharp drop off from them this time around. The summer so far, we have seen Blackburn lose not just quality but experience from their squad, which I think could be the real killer. There are still conversations going on surrounding the future of Callum Britton. I mean, someone like a Lewis Travis continues to be linked with plenty of clubs in the Championship as well. Until we know the full dynamics of what sort of squad Valérien Ismaël will be working with next season, it's tough to fully nail down which part of the table Blackburn will be in next season, because with the right additions, that squad could be chasing the top 6 again, but don't adequately replace the players that have gone out, and yeah, it could be quite a sharp drop-off, but still quite early to tell with Blackburn. Predicted to finish in 16th, the bookies have Derby County, also with relegation odds of 5 to 1, but slightly shorter promotion odds than Blackburn, 12 to 1 to be promoted. And we've seen Derby being quite proactive in this transfer window so far. We've said it countless times on the channel throughout the summer. Scoring goals was a major issue for Derby last season, but they've really started to address that during this summer transfer window. An early pickup of Colton Morris, I think, is a decent pickup. I know he's not coming off the back of the best season with Luton, but I think he fits into the mould of what John Eustace likes in his strikers, and the real icing on the cake is recently getting that deal over the line for Patrick Agyemang and spending upwards of £5 million on him. Plenty of experience coming into that squad as well. You'd fancy John Eustace to have them quite defensively resolute. I see no reason why Derby couldn't be pushing up the league next season. Predicted to finish in 15th place, the bookies have Stoke, relegation odds of 6 to 1, promotion odds of 10 to 1. Now, it always feels like at the start of every Championship season, Stoke are always overshot in these bookies promotion odds. In years gone by, Stoke have been a regular fix for the top 10 usually for where the bookies has them landing, and ultimately that just never transpires, does it? Stoke's last 4 finishes in the Championship has set a bit of a worrying trend for them of late. So in the last 4 seasons, Stoke have finished 14th, 16th, 17th, 18th. They're getting lower consecutively each season, going off that trend. Stoke fans will be hopeful that Mark Robins is the man to turn around that ship, and I do think they've made some tidy signings so far, but external factors always seem to be at force at Stoke, and for those reasons I think that a finish of around 15th will be a really decent one for Stoke next season. Predicted to finish in 14th, the bookies have Swansea, actually with the exact same odds as Stoke right now. Promotion odds of 10 to 1, relegation odds of 6 to 1. The only reason they're higher in this table is because Swansea finished higher than Stoke last season. Now for me personally, this is the part of the table where everyone from sort of this position upwards, I do think stands a realistic shot of fighting for a place in the top 6. And to be honest, you could even make an argument for some of those sides below 14th in this table could also be a bit of a dark horse as well. But from Swansea upwards, I wouldn't have too many grumblings about any of these sides if you guys were predicting them to finish in the top 6 right now. Swansea, I think it's been a really exciting transfer window for them up until this point. They're likely still going to add to their squad between now and the end of the window as well, and I think they've addressed a few key positions that troubled them at points of last season. They obviously ended last season in absolutely spectacular form as well, but the bookie still has them to sort of level out into a mid-table finish based on those odds. Predicted finish in 13th place, the bookies have Millwall, promotion odds of 10 to 1, relegation odds of 7 to 1. So they've actually got the same promotion odds of Swansea and Stoke, but slightly higher relegation odds, which is why they're higher up on this table. Just missed out on the top 6 last season. I thought that Alex Neil did really well with Millwall during the second half of the campaign. I think that given a full pre-season, I'd fancy him to have them up and around that picture again. Consistently hitting the back of the net was a bit of an issue for Millwall last season, but with the form that Ivanovic ended that campaign in, getting Josh Coburn on a permanent basis, if you can keep him fully fit, add a bit more creativity to that side, and yeah, you'd fancy Millwall to have another decent crack at it. The biggest question mark that hangs over Millwall right now is just the long-term futures of some of their key players. Is Tanganga still going to be a Millwall player come the end of the transfer window? And is Ivanovic as well? There's obviously been quite a lot of rumours and speculation surrounding those two players of late. Until we know that, it's tough to nail down how serious Millwall will be next season for a top 6 push, but based on how Alex Neil had them performing in the second half of last season, you'd fancy them to be a solid outfit for it again. Then slap bang in the middle of the table, we've got Watford, promotion odds of 8 to 1, relegation odds of 6 to 1. That's interesting. Watford are more likely to be relegated than Millwall based off these odds, but they're also more likely to be promoted as well. The bookie's given a bit of an indication there that Watford's season could very much go in either direction. Watford were one of the clubs I was a little bit fearful for at the back end of last season, just because of how, you know, their form had really tailed off in the second half of the season. When Cleverley was sacked, we weren't sure which direction Pozzo was going to go in terms of who was going to come in as his replacement. Parachute payments have now run out as well, so we thought that maybe a few big sales could have been made, either a loser going out or a Chakvedadze, someone like that. But the summer transfer window so far for Watford has been so ambitious. Some of the players they've been able to pick up and some of the players they're still being linked to as well. Listen, it could be a lot to ask for a new manager coming into this league to gel a lot of players together all at once. But in the scenario that all of these new additions do click and hit the ground running, Watford could be in for a really exciting season next time around. That's sort of reflected in the bookies odds here, with them having them with promotion odds as short as 8 to 1 at the moment. Predicted to finish in 11th place, we've then got Bristol City, also with promotion odds of 8 to 1. They've got relegation odds though of 10 to 1. Now Bristol City did secure a playoff spot last season, but the bookies don't think that the Robins will be able to replicate that this time around. Fair bit of change at Ashton Gate over the summer, obviously, with Liam Manning going out, Gerhard Struber coming in. There's been a bit of a reshuffle in that squad as well. Already a blow for Bristol City coming into this new campaign is how many injured players they've already got. Their goalkeeper Max O'Leary set to be out for around 3 months. You've got Cam Pring, who's set to miss the start of the season with an injury as well. I do think that if Bristol City are going to finish in the top 6 again like they did last season, they're most likely going to have to improve on their points total from last time around. I don't think that 68 points will be enough to get you in the top 6 next season like it was last time around, but Bristol City I'd still fancy to be in the conversation, but have a few clubs overtaken them with their transfer business of late? The bookies seem to think so. Predicted to finish in 10th place, the bookies have West Brom with promotion odds of 6-1 and relegation odds of 20-1. I quite like the transfer business from West Brom so far. 3 incomings so far, and they've spent a decent amount on all 3 of them as well. Nat Phillips coming in from Liverpool, obviously coming off the back of a very good loan spell with Derby County last time around. Judge Campbell, another addition at the back, he's coming over from MLS, and Hegebo coming in as their marquee new number 9 signing as well. Really, a lot of the debate around West Brom right now is just trying to gauge how good and how long it might take Ryan Mason to adapt to this role. Obviously, one of the youngest managers we've got in the Championship, being just 34. It's his first time out as a fully fledged coach for a side and his first time working in the Championship as well, but that squad definitely has a lot of potential, and you can see why the bookies would have them in this promotion picture right now. Here they are. I'm sure a few of you guys will wait and see how high the bookies have Wrexham. They've currently got them 9th in the table with promotion odds of 11-2, relegation odds though of 12-1, so shorter relegation odds than West Brom, but more likely to be promoted based on these current estimations. Now, Wrexham are still a bit of a tough one to gauge really, because based on their current squad quality, I can't see them finishing as high as 9th, but the business they're likely to do between now and the end of the window, they absolutely could make that squad competitive enough with the players they're currently being linked to fly past a number of the mid-table traditional sort of Championship clubs that we've come to expect in this region of the table in recent years. It's been speculated that they've got around 10 million to spend on a striker, whoever they choose that to be. Looks like these next few weeks are going to be a little bit more busy for Wrexham in terms of incomings. As of recording, they've only got 2 deals over the line, those being for Ryan Hardy and Danny Ward. But it looks like the big deals for Wrexham are probably going to come later on in the window, and the bookies is anticipating that, given their price at just 11-2 for promotion. Predicted to finish in 8th, the bookies have Norwich with also promotion odds of 11-2, relegation odds of 16-1. Last season was a big underachievement from Norwich based on the star power they had in that squad. To finish in the bottom half of the table was really disappointing, but despite losing Borja Sainz and looking like Josh Sargent is on his way out, that squad is still looking really quite good for a top 6 push in my opinion. Obviously, Liam Manning knows what it's about at this level. He got Bristol City over the line and into the top 6 last season. He's working with more resources now at Norwich. I think I would be surprised if Norwich did finish as low as they did last season under a boss like Manning and some of the business that they've done so far. But based on these odds, the bookies doesn't quite think they've got enough right now to get over the line. Predicted to finish in 7th and just miss out on the top 6, the bookies have Middlesbrough with promotion odds of 5-1. Now, Borough are yet to actually sign anyone. It's been an incredibly quiet transfer window for them so far, but quite a bit of change over the summer with Michael Carrick going out and Rob Edwards coming in. It seems to be the case where maybe Middlesbrough are waiting for a big sale this summer before they really commit to going big in the window themselves, obviously with likes of Hayden Hackney and Rav van den Berg both being linked with quite lucrative moves to the Premier League. It could be the case that Borough are waiting for either of those players to be sold on before then going big in the market. They have been linked with quite a few players of late, but just haven't been able to get any deals over the line, have they? I do think that squad depth is a real issue for that team at the moment, and that is probably my biggest concern with them. But that's always going to be the case when we're 3 weeks until the Championship season gets underway and you've literally not signed anyone. There are still a number of players within that squad who are top 6 quality, and if Edwards can sort of shake that bad momentum that he had around him with Luton last season, then you would fancy them to be in this picture again. Predicted to finish in 6th by the bookies, they've got Leicester City with promotion odds of 9-2. Interestingly though, they've got relegation odds as short as 6-1, so Leicester are as likely to be relegated next season as Stoke are, which I think is fascinating based on these odds. Obviously, a large contributing factor to these odds will be the likely point deduction that Leicester are going to be hit with. It has been proposed by Sky Sports that the most likely outcome is probably going to be a 9-point deduction for the Foxes. Had it not been for that 9-point deduction, I think they would have been an automatic shout for one of the places in the top 3. I think think if you look at the quality that's still in that Leicester squad, despite some of the players that have moved on this summer, it's still not a million miles away from the team that walked the Championship a season or so ago. For Martí Cifuentes, it's a completely different sort of job working with Leicester and their ambitions for next season than it was with QPR. But despite the likely point deduction, Leicester are still being fancied for a spot in the top 6. What do you guys think though? And could Leicester still be a shout for the top 2 despite that point deduction? Predicted to finish in 5th by the bookies, they've got Coventry, also with promotion odds of 9-2, but significantly larger relegation odds. They're 40-1 to be relegated next season. Their standout signing so far of this window has been Kane Kessler-Hayden coming over from Aston Villa. I think he's a nice option, can play on either flank really as a fullback or wing back. The way that Lampard had Cov performing in the second half of the season, I think most would have them to be in and about this playoff battle again. Who knows, if they seriously bring in some statement signings between now and the end of the window, could even be a shout for fighting for one of those places in the top 2. But speaking of fighting for a place in the top 2, that's definitely applicable to Birmingham based on their promotion odds. 2-1 they're being priced at for Championship promotion right now, with relegation odds of 50-1. In usual circumstances for a newly promoted club coming up from League One to the Championship, to be priced at 50-1 for relegation is almost unheard of. But the way Birmingham have been moving, not just this summer, but last summer when they were in League One, most people, and myself included, are fancying them to make quite the impression on the Championship next season. It's been such a strong window from them so far, and they've still got the budget left over to strengthen their squad from this point onwards as well. It's only natural that the comparisons are being made between Birmingham and Ipswich, with potential back-to-back promotion talk being on a lot of fans' lips at the moment. One key thing that I think is important to remember, especially with a side like Birmingham, and it's also applicable to Wrexham as well, that if we get to January and Birmingham are in, the midst of a promotion battle where there is a realistic chance of going up to the Premier League or even just solidifying a place in the top 6, I think there's every chance that we see Birmingham going really big in that January window and piling even more investment into that side. So that's one of the main reasons they're being priced at 2-1 for promotion right now. But the bookies does think that there could be a few sides finishing above them still. To finish in 3rd place once again, we've got Sheffield United. Now, fascinatingly, their promotion and relegation odds are actually exactly the same as Birmingham's right now. So realistically, you could have Sheffield United or Birmingham either way round on this table. The reason I've got Sheffield United higher than them is because obviously they were doing it in a higher league last season, but we've still not really got a clear indication of which way that squad is heading in next season under Ruben Selles. We'd fancy there to be a fair bit of change considering they made the decision to obviously move Chris Wilder on, but so far in this transfer window we've not really seen the Blades being that proactive, have we? A couple of pickups so far. We've already seen one big sale in Vinny Souza leaving as well. I still think there's quite a lot that needs to be done for Sheffield United between now and the end of the window just to get that squad into shape and almost looking as strong as it was last season. But if they do put those pieces together, could be another shout for another automatic promotion push, albeit the bookies thinks that they'll just fall short. And from this point onwards, you probably know what's coming next. Predicted to finish in 2nd place, we've got Southampton with promotion odds of 13-8 and relegation odds of 66-1. Despite coming down as one of the statistically worst sides that the Premier League has ever seen, I think they're going to be dropping down to the Championship and probably going to be one of the strongest teams that this league has ever seen. Certainly based off their current squad value, what Will Still could potentially bring to that group as well, obviously a very highly rated manager from his time in France. The biggest thing for Southampton will be to shake off that relegation feeling from last season. We really saw it impacting Luton last season in particular, with that hangover that just hung over those players' heads for at least the first half of the season. I do think though there will be enough change at Southampton this summer, both with the playing and coaching staff, that there will be a bit of a fresh mentality coming into this season, which maybe wasn't applicable for Luton last season, with them having a lot of the continuity from that relegation in the Premier League. Squad's looking very strong, they've already added to it, and we'd still fancy them to do quite a bit of business between now and the end of the window. But as a surprise to absolutely no one, coming in as the promotion favourites right now, it is Ipswich Town with promotion odds of 11-8 and relegation odds of 100-1. Now, to be fair, Ipswich are keeping that continuity. They have done for the last several seasons now, obviously. Kieran McKenna's still in charge, and there never really were any conversations about his future being impacted by that Premier League relegation. Shaking off that feeling may take a little bit of time, like we were just mentioning with Southampton and how much that affected Luton last season, let's say. But what I do think Ipswich planned quite well for is a lot of their recruitment from the Premier League in last summer as well in particular was almost aimed at building this Championship super team that's immediately going to be fighting for promotion again. The amount of attacking options right now is almost off the scale. You fancy them just to outgun the majority of these Championship clubs just with the quality that they have in the final third. Business has been fairly slow for them up until this point, but we expect things to start picking up over these next few weeks with the players they're currently being linked with. Just based on squad quality right now, the quality of McKenna as well, I can see why the bookies have got them down as the title favourites. But I'd be very interested to know from you in the comments down below, do you agree with the bookies' current selections? Who do you think they're being too kind to right now and who are they being too harsh on? Do let me know down below. Apart from that though guys, that will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and get all your thoughts in the comments down below. Other than that, thank you very much for tuning in and I'll see you all in the next one.